anniversary.
And of course,
The very best way to end a lovely day is to cozy on up for Jammies with JaNay.
okay, that's it. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, welcome back to another Jammies with JaNay. I'm so glad you came back, and I'm super excited to share another story start with you tonight. But first, I gotta ask you, how was your day today? Well, I hope you said you had a great day. And if you didn't, that's okay. You can make tomorrow an even better day. How was my day? Well, it was beautiful. Thanks so much for asking. So, we've got to do our check-ins. Are you ready to do the check-ins? Okay. Do you have your jammies on? Do you have your jammies on? I have mine. Here they are. Do you have yours? Ah, perfect. Check. Do you have your favorite stuffed animal or snuggly? I have mine. Hello. Do you have yours? Ah, perfect. Check. Do you have your adult nearby? It could be any adult you like. It could be your mom or your dad. It could be your auntie or your uncle, your grandma, your grandpa, your big sister or brother, or whomever, whichever adult you would like to share this story start with. Do you have your adult? Ah, perfect. Check. Now, I gotta know. Do you have your story today? Do you have the story? Perfect. Because look, I have the story too. Here it is. Here is our story for today. Do you have your story? Perfect. Check. I have it too. Our story today is called Playing at the Border, a story of Yo-Yo Ma. Playing at the border. You have your story, right? Well, I'm really excited to share this story because this story is a biography. A biography. Do you know what a biography is? Yeah, it's a story that tells us about someone's life. This is a biography. Playing at the Border, a story of Yo-Yo Ma. This is a biography, and it tells the story of someone's life. And it says, a story of Yo-Yo Ma. Who do you think this story is about? You're so right. Yo-Yo Ma. This story is about Yo-Yo Ma. And Yo-Yo Ma is a famous American cellist. Do you know what a cellist is? Well, a cellist is someone who plays a cello. And a cello is a large string instrument that looks a lot like a violin. Can you see a cello maybe on this cover here? Aha! Here it is, a cello. And here is Yo-Yo Ma. So we are reading a biography of Yo-Yo Ma, an American cellist. Now, this story is written by someone named Joanna Ho. If Joanna Ho wrote the story, what does that make Joanna Ho? Exactly. Joanna Ho is the author. She's the one who wrote the story. And if it says illustrated by Teresa Martinez, what does that make Teresa Martinez? Yeah, you're so good at this. The illustrator. Teresa Martinez is the illustrator. She is the one who created these beautiful pictures. So today, our story is a biography written by Joanna Ho, illustrated by Teresa Martinez, entitled Playing at the Border, a story of Yo-Yo Ma. Let's take a moment and look at the cover. What are some things you see on the cover that you notice? Yeah, we already said we see a cello, which is this large string instrument that is played with a bow and has these strings. It looks a lot like a violin, but it's very large. So the picture has a cello, the cover has a cello on it, and someone playing the cello. What do you think that might be? Yeah, I think that that's Yo-Yo Ma, who the story is about. What are some other things you notice on the cover? Lots of different people here in the background as Yo-Yo Ma plays his cello. I am excited to read this story. Let's dig in. Ooh, look at here. Look at these end pages. What do you notice on the end pages? Yeah, they're blue. They're blue, and they have these strings of musical notes. So I think that this story is going to have a lot to do with music. Let's turn the page. Ah, here's, here's the title page. Playing at the Border, a story of Yo-Yo Ma. And there it is there. Remember what that's called? Yeah, the cello. There's the cello. On the banks of the Rio Grande, feet planted on the soil of one nation, eyes gazing at the shores of another, Yo-Yo Ma played a solo, accompanied by an orchestra of wind and water. Look here. What do you see in the background behind Yo-Yo Ma? All this water. The Rio Grande, this large river behind him. And there he is with his cello, playing, accompanied by an orchestra of wind and water. It says Yo-Yo Ma played a solo. A solo. What's a solo? Do you know what a solo is? Yeah, it's when somebody plays music all by themselves. You can have a singing solo when you're singing all by yourself, or playing a musical solo where here he is sitting on the banks playing the cello all by himself. So it says, on the banks of the Rio Grande, feet planted on the soil of one nation, eyes gazing at the shores of another, Yo-Yo Ma played a solo, accompanied by an orchestra of wind and water. I want you to take a moment. Can you imagine what the wind might sound like if you're sitting at the banks of a river? Soft flowing. Or what about the water rushing behind? Close your eyes and picture what water rushing behind you might sound like. Maybe it sound like shh, or wind blowing behind you. Maybe it would sound like, take a moment and just picture that. It's very calming, huh? Let's turn the page and see what happens. Fed by the snow-capped mountains of the Colorado and flowing into the Gulf of Mexico, the Rio Grande became a boundary dividing two countries that used to be one. It's here. Look at this. This river is dividing two countries that used to be one. So when we see this dividing, this means it's cutting it into pieces. And in this case, it's cutting straight through the land into a piece over here and a piece over here. So it's this river becoming a boundary, dividing two countries that used to be one. There's some other things you see in the pictures here. Oh yes, of course we see the big river here. What about right there? Can you see? Ah, there's a crowd here. Yo-Yo Ma sitting there playing. But look, you can also see a crowd here. So maybe even though the river is dividing this land, his music is carrying on the winds and playing so everyone can hear. Let's turn the page. Yo-Yo Ma made music on riverbanks that separated people into Mexican, American, citizen, immigrant. Though they, we, were, are one. Here they are. What do you think these people are feeling as they're listening to Yo-Yo Ma's beautiful music? Yeah, I think they look like they're content, like they're enjoying it. They're letting the music move them as they listen. Feet planted on the soil of one nation, facing the shores of another. Yo-Yo Ma closed his eyes as music poured from his heart through his hands. I'm going to stop the reading there. Snap! Parents, now it's your turn to finish reading the story of Yo-Yo Ma and his life as a musician. And I challenge you to ask your children, what do you think the main message of this story is after you read the whole book? I also encourage you to look at the very back of the book because the author has included lots of great information, like an author's notes and learning about Petunia, who you'll have to see who Petunia is, as well as more information about Yo-Yo Ma and the projects he's done and some of the amazing work he has completed across his life. Well, I hope you enjoyed this story start, and I hope you'll join me back for another. Don't forget that I have some story prompts that you can look at to ask questions as you continue the story, as well as some story vocabulary words. That you can use to help expand your child's vocabulary, as well as a little more information about Yo-Yo Ma. That's all I've got for you today. I hope you'll come back for another story start. And with that, I say good night and happy reading. Don't forget to subscribe to Jammies with JaNay. You can just click the subscribe button at the bottom of the page.